You have to be a pretty lucky man to be on Pool 4 of the Mississippi and have Brett King in the boat with you.
Yeah. I've heard it all now.
I'll tell you what though, late fall, you know, there's a really, really good bite going on Pool 4. In fact, a couple of years ago, you and I shot a show, you know, for those saugers up by the dam vertical jigging, and that bite's going on right now. But we wanted to do something a little bit different, maybe get away from the masses of boats. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is Lake Pepin that we're in, and you can see all around, and we are literally the only boat out here.
We were the only vehicle at the ramp, which is unheard of on this body of water this time of year.
And it was something we were talking, and he's like, hey, let's just go try that. I know there's fish out there still, and let's go try pitching jigs. And I'm not someone to pass up pitching jigs, because I love it, and I know that you love it too.
Absolutely. You know, they ice fish out here all winter once we get ice, and they catch nice walleyes, they catch nice sauger. They don't all go to the dam, but apparently the masses think so. So let's see if we can expose something today.
I'm all about it. We're gonna show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. It's the
Many anglers in the Midwest know that there's a great walleye and sauger bite near the dam in Pool 4 on the Mississippi River late in the fall. Although there are a lot of fish to be caught, often they're smaller fish, and you have to compete with a lot of other boats. There are many anglers that simply just want to get away from the chaos, and a much lesser known bite is going on down the river in Lake Pepin, and you may even catch a few big fish.
So we're out here on Lake Pepin today, just trying to prove the theory that there is other opportunities on the vast waters of Pool 4 late in the fall, early winter, than just going up to the dam, where the migration of saugers and walleyes goes up there for sure, but it also brings the masses and the crowds with it. So I told Chase today, I said, hey, let's go down in the lake. There's opportunities down on Lake Pepin. There's mid-lake points with deep water access. There's shoreline rock with deep water access. And you can generally go down there and throw jigs, hair jigs, jigs and plastics, some blade baits mixed in there, and catch a variety of fish, and typically some nice walleyes along the way, without seeing a lot of boats, if any at all. So you don't always have to go up to where the masses are. There is opportunities here to get away from the crowds and go do your own thing.
Got one, Kinger?
Ah,
Good one?
yeah.
Oh yeah, you need the net on that one, Kinger.
Yep, it's coming right at me.
Yeah.
Seems all right. You know, you never know until they
Yeah, I know.
get out here
They
a
like
little
to
ways.
come at you, and then all of a sudden they get pretty big. It looks pretty nice. There we go. Nice fish. Just popped it, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
You know me in this time of
Fatty.
year.
That's the fatty. That's a beauty right there.
Welcome to fall, right?
Yeah, right in the top of the mouth. You weren't going to lose that one, Kinger. That's a heck of a fish, man.
We're off to a pretty good start.
Hey, I'll tell you what. There's not a lot of people out here right now.
No.
We're not dealing with pressure and...
If you want to deal with some people, let's go for a little boat ride. I'll show you people.
No,
but
we don't need
we'll
to
take
do that. I think we'll stay here. We'll pitch some stuff around and see if we can't catch a couple more just
Absolutely.
like that. Huh? That's a beauty. Here, throw her back. I'm done touching your fish.
But you got gloves on. There we go. Goodbye, girl.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkley. Catch more fish. And Power Pole Total Boat Control. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Precision Trolling Data, the authority for crankbait diving depth information. Many anglers would agree that there's nothing better than feeling the bite of a walleye on a jig while casting.
Popped it too, just holding it. Need the net there, Kinger? You just don't want me a part of it, so you didn't even call for the net.
I thought maybe you'd miss it. He throttled it like a big dog.
I was holding it, it seemed like forever. You know, because it was just coming down the steep part and just dunk right before it hit bottom. And
especially on a hair jig in the fall when fish are putting on the feed bag, getting ready for winter.
so one of the things that I've really paid attention to is basically the type of structure that we're fishing, and it's changed up the cadence that I'm using with these hair jigs. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna hold your rod at roughly a 45-degree angle from where that bait's sitting, and basically you're just using the reel for the retrieve. So I'm letting it settle to the bottom. I'm giving one crank on the reel. You can see that it pops that hair jig up and it'll glide back down to the bottom. As soon as it touches bottom, I do it again and just keep going like that all the way till it comes back. The second cadence I'm using here, and I'll reel this in and show you, is when we're fishing the shorelines where there's a really sharp shelf right at the shoreline and there's some really nasty big boulders right close to shore. And by simply using that pass cadence, you get snagged up quite a bit more. So with that, if I'm fishing a shoreline, it's very typical slow fall, cold weather jigging, and I'm letting the jig settle to the bottom, and I'm basically lifting. I'm not snapping it up, but I'm lifting it, letting it settle back down to the bottom, reeling up the slack, and holding that hair jig and letting it swim very slowly and drift very, very slowly back to the bottom. And a lot of times on that hold is where you're gonna feel that hit. So two different type of setups, two different type of cadences, but really pay attention to how you're fishing these things because you can get more bites if you use the right cadence and the right type of structure. Oh, here's one.
Nice one, Chase.
Yeah, it feels all right, Brett.
All right.
Yeah, I can't exactly tell, but it's all right, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to tell till you get them out away from the shore. There you go.
Why not? There you go. Look at that beefcake. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
Just not super long, but holy cow.
They got shoulders
Look at
this
that
time of year.
There's just nothing better. You're just holding it and you feel that jig swimming and all of a sudden it's just
They just plow it.
I mean, some of these little ones, they hit it like they suck it in so hard you think they might be 4 or 5 pounders.
Well, you know what? They don't get that belly by being bashful.
Look at the fatness on that one. Let's see. I'm gonna put you back so you get a little bit longer. I don't know if you can eat too much more.
Total Control, presented by Power Pole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
If you've heard it once, you've heard it a million times on the importance of your electronics when it comes to fishing. And to me, it's everything. When it comes to a tournament, trying to understand as much as I can before I actually get my line wet is more important to anything, because it can either dictate on where I fish or even what technique I use. But one accessory that I think is really important with my Lowrance is using a 0.1 GPS module. And the biggest difference a 0.1 GPS module has is it has a positional puck, basically, or positional GPS antenna that's going to tell me which way my boat is facing. So when I look at my GPS map, the arrow or the cursor on there is not going to be spinning if my boat is basically drifting around. It's always going to face the way after calibration which way my boat is facing. Now this is very important when it comes to fishing, especially when I'm up on the bow of my boat and I'm casting. I want to know if that rock waypoint or that weed waypoint that is slightly off the right side of the front of my boat is that direction, because I want to make that cast. Another thing that is very important is where you place this module, or where you place this GPS puck. When it comes to Genesis Live, you know, driving around and basically making your own lake maps, what you want to have is this GPS puck over top or very near your transducer. You always almost want it back by your transom, because what you don't want to have happen is have this GPS module mounted at the console or in the front of your boat, maybe 10 or 20 feet different. If I'm going up a brake line and I have my GPS puck in the front and I go back down that waypoint or down that brake line, I'm gonna have almost 40 feet difference from where this was reading, and my lake maps are gonna be very inconsistent. So it's very important where you mount this. It's just one of those accessories that I think is very key and almost essential more times than not, and that I almost will probably never live without.
Imparting action into your bait and feeling a bite are the two most important things when pitching jigs, making it a more difficult way of fishing. Paying close attention to the details both before and after getting a bite is very important. Those things can give you clues as to what you may be doing right or doing wrong.
So I'm doing something today that I absolutely love to do in the fall, cold water periods, and that's I'm pitching jigs and plastics. It's a chess match to me. There's a lot of little things that make the difference. It's all about controlling the fall rate of that jig as I'm working down the drop off. I have like a 3 to 5 second window. I like to see that jig just falling on its own, free falling, before it contacts the bottom again. And I do that a number of different ways. Today you see it's a little bit windy outside too, which also comes into play. So I'm actually using braided line today instead of monofilament, which I normally like to use, because the braid cuts the wind better and I don't get such a big bow in the line. As the temp falls, I'll absolutely switch to monofilament on the calmer days, because it just slows the fall rate because of the density of the monofilament line. It's the little things when you're throwing plastics like this in cold water that make all the difference between getting bit and not getting bit.
Yep. Feels all right. Yeah, it feels pretty good.
Set the hook.
Yep. There you go. Look at that.
There you go.
How fat that is. Just scoop that hair jig right up off the bottom. That's a nice fish.
Yes, it is.
We'll take that. God, look at the body on that thing.
Yes, sir.
It's been eating McDonald's like me.
Well, yes.
We just started moving down. We were sitting on that point a little bit and casting for a while, and we were marking them. No bites.
No
we
bites.
started moving a little bit, and one of the first casts after he started moving,
You gave him the old eerie sweep,
boom.
where you get a little bit of side sweep
Yep.
from the boat movement
Yep.
going.
So primarily I've been focusing in on using hair jigs, whether we're casting shorelines or casting some of these points. It seems to have been working pretty well. You know, purples and whites, purples and chartreuses, 3/8 ounce in size. Actually really comparable to how I fish hair jigs, say like on Great Lakes, like on Green Bay. And the gear for it actually is also pretty similar as well. What I'm using is actually one of these new Bass Pro Prodigy walleye rods. This is 6 foot 6 inch in length, medium extra fast. So you'll see that it just has a lot of backbone, but a very fast tip. The backbone's great because you can cast these hair jigs so far. You know, if we're fishing points and staying off them a ways, you're casting them way out there, and you can really get a good hook set into the fish if that hair jig's way out there. What I'll use then is obviously some type of super line so I can get as much feel as possible, a 10-pound test, tie an Albright knot to a fluorocarbon leader, and I'm using 15-pound fluorocarbon, 2 3-foot leader right to the hair jig. So pretty simple setup. And I'll tell you what, in this cold weather, these walleyes, smallies, crappies, bunch of different species really like to attack these things. There's one, Brett.
Going,
Way
Chase?
out there.
All right.
I think he's pretty good. Yep. Not real big, but a decent one for sure. Boy, he's
You don't know which way he wants to go,
cruising
does he?
all over, isn't he?
Come here, buddy. There.
All right.
Nice.
Not real big, but I was just crawling the thing. It was, you know, I was just using the reel method there and just pop.
You got a little
And
different cadence to that hair jig than most people have. And obviously it's working for you.
He was way in there too, but I mean, you look at that though, like we're out here on the lake all by ourselves. This isn't a giant, but what, it's probably 18, almost 18 inches.
Yeah, probably 18.
Nice
18
and
and a
fat.
half.
And you know, you can go way upriver right now, up by the dam, and catch a pile of them. Most of them are tiny little saugers,
Yes.
so you know, we might not be getting as many bites.
We haven't seen what? One boat?
0 boats.
0 boats. You kind of challenged me to take you off the beaten path this time, so
Yep, for sure.
we come out in the lake and we're being rewarded.
Oh, there we go.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkley. Catch more fish. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Precision Trolling Data. The authority in diving depth info. And Power Pole Total Boat Control. Hot topics, leading information and tackling techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
You know, at the next bite, all of us are obviously hardcore fishermen, but we also do a lot of hunting and, you know, basically have to take care of our yard as well too throughout the summer. And one of the things I wanted to talk about here is this machine sitting behind me. We have well over 100 hours on this machine over the past year, and this is a Tracker Off-Road 800 SX crew cab. First thing you can obviously tell is it's a huge machine. And that's something that really works pretty well for myself. I have 2 young kids, 7 and 9. You know, my wife, I have 2 dogs, and to be honest, all of us have been in this thing a bunch. But you'll notice a premium cab on here too, right? Enclosed cab. I actually have this thing heated. And one of the things that you want to pay attention to with any of these UTVs is if you have a heated cab, something that's very important to have to add as an option is actually the windshield wiper on the window, because as you're running that heat inside, that windshield specifically on the outside is going to get stuff on, and then you need that windshield wiper. So something that we've actually learned throughout the past few years with these enclosed cabs. But the thing I want to really talk about is what we did to this machine for setting it up for ice fishing. So I do have tracks for this machine, and being able to put tracks on this machine just makes it an unbelievable machine for ice fishing. Obviously with the room you can fit 3 to 4 grown men in, you can get all your gear out to your spot, you can tow multiple shacks behind this thing, but all in comfort with the heat inside the cab. So very, very good machine. What I also say is I talked about plowing my driveway before. You know, with the tracks, it is absolutely incredible how much power this thing has. So literally, the options are endless in the whole Tracker Off-Road lineup. I think you're gonna be really impressed with what they all have to offer.
So one of the most important things when you're out doing this cold weather fishing in the fall is taking care of your hands. Been handling fish all day like this, and been wearing these new Arid Blackfish gloves, and they're waterproof, and they do a really good job of not only keeping my hands dry, but I'm able to fish with them. I can handle the rod, I can flip the reel, cast with them on, so they're a really nice addition to the arsenal. And one benefit to them is I don't have to worry about getting my hands wet because they're waterproof. So even when I go to release the fish, I get in there a little too far, or I'm perfectly fine because the glove is 100% waterproof.
If you're able to find ways to handle the cold, fishing in the fall is one of the best times of the year to not only catch a lot of fish, but some of the biggest fish in the system.
There we go.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that one.
Oh, yeah, I think we're going to need the net on this one. Kinger, I could just see it in the rod. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. There we go, baby.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I would say he blasted it, Kinger. Look at your jig. Oh. Wow.
It is so fun.
Well, you like rocked the boat on the hook set, so I could tell it was, and I just looked at the rod and it was just,
I can't explain to people how hard they hit it, but they'll spit it out faster than they suck it in.
yeah.
So it's my natural reaction.
Well, you got that one. That is a beauty.
Look at the belly.
Yeah.
Man, I love this time of year.
So much fun. And we got a nice weather day too.
Oh, look at this, unbelievable.
In fact, get that thing unhooked so I can get back there and catch one, man.
I just want to stare at him
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
know.
You don't want to let go.
Ringworm? No, he doesn't. Yeah. That's sweet right there. Look at that thing. Big ones are easy. Kinger, Kinger, get up, get her, get her, get here, get here, get here.
Someone's still untangling the net. That's how I got him up so fast. He was right here under the boat when he hit it. So
basically you were cheating.
I guess if you want to call it that, it's perfectly legal.
There we go, that's a nice one. He's
off in the net. Right under the boat.
The only thing I got a question about is what are you using? Without telling anyone, you put a blade on. I know you've been talking about them.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me I could throw a blade.
Well, you know, this break we're fishing right now is so steep that,
Snap your rod in half.
you know, on a really steep break like this,
Look at this thing.
he's
Look at
kicking
this.
your Would you like to try that again?
This is ridiculous. What is he doing?